Number 20. The Slideshow, It. In a twist on a classic moment from the Stephen King novel and miniseries, the shape-shifting Pennywise, the dancing clown, terrorizes a group of children looking through an old slide projector. As the projector operates on its own, Pennywise begins to appear in the photographs. It's the way director Andy Muschietti paces the scene that really gets us. Just when we think we might be safe, the evil clown jumps out of the projector screen. It's a wow moment that tests even the most savvy horror audiences and proves the case that the story was due for a modern retelling. Number 19. The Cornfield Signs. Although M. Night Shyamalan gets a lot of flack for his twist endings and narrative shortcuts, there's no denying the man knows how to create tension. When Mel Gibson's priest-turned-farmer Graham Hess finds crop circles in his cornfield, he does exactly the thing the audience is begging him to do. He goes to investigate, in the dark, with a flashlight. Then he sees it, a creature moving among the corn stalks. That's all. Building the tension with night sounds and minimalistic music, Shyamalan doesn't hit you over the head with this moment. It's unsettling and spooky all on its own. Number 18. Ghost in the Kitchen, Paranormal Activity 2. Although it certainly wasn't the first found footage horror movie, actually, it wasn't even the first in the series, Paranormal Activity 2 found a way to ratchet up the fear factor with a deceptively simple jump scare. Reportedly, actor Sprague Graydon was not told that all the cabinets would fly open. Her reaction is about as genuine as it could be. The isolating shots of the character and the wide range of vision makes the effect harder to pull off for filmmakers. The scare could come from anywhere, but instead, it comes from everywhere at once. Number 17. In Fury, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. As the heroic and cursed young wizard grows up, so does the series that bears his name. Dumb trolls and large CGI spiders gave way to soul-sucking prison demons and necromanced zombies. This scene in the 6th installment finds Harry and Professor Dumbledore in a cave infested by Infuri, reanimated corpses. Without warning, an Infurious' hand reaches out and grabs Harry from the water. It's probably the most terrifying moment in the movie series. Yes, the Harry Potter movies get dark, but this is a full-on horror set piece. Considering the generally lighthearted dangers of the first few movies, it's just one more sign that the series was not for kids anymore. Number 16. Out of the Cabinet, Candyman. The title character of this horror classic has a tendency towards appearing behind people looking into mirrors, a pattern the film then brilliantly subverts with this incredible moment.
No one ever got past 4.
Well aware that closing her bathroom cupboard may lead to a terrifying encounter, Helen takes a look behind her to make sure the coast is clear first. Everything looks normal, but before she can turn back to close the mirrored cupboard, danger comes her way. This is a perfect example of a jump scare that plays on the expectations of the audience, seemingly setting up a scare that will play out in one way before flipping the script and taking a different and unexpected angle instead. Number 15. The Attic, Ju-on the Curse. While American audiences may be more familiar with The Grudge, the scares started in this Japanese direct-to-video low-budget thriller from 2000. When Yuki hears strange croaking sounds coming from the attic, she goes to investigate. Once up there, she's seized upon by the ghost of a woman. Despite the film's obvious limitations, the moment is spectacularly freaky and well-timed. It's also smart in that it plays on some deceptively simple ideas. Dark attics, empty houses, creaks, and groans. These are universally creepy things. What sets this one apart is its testament to what filmmakers can do with limited resources. Number 14. Back from the Grave. Carrie. Just when it seems like all the horror is over, Brian De Palma's Carrie has one last fright. Given all that we've seen in the climax of the movie, it's a pretty safe bet that all of Carrie White's horrific powers died with her. As that beautiful, serene music plays and Sue Snell walks up on the ruins of Carrie's home, the movie lulls us into a false sense of peace. And then comes the kicker, or should we say, the grabber. It's a shocking end to a movie that's already been a roller coaster of emotion. It's also probably the biggest jump scare of the movie, and it's in the last 30 seconds. Well played, De Palma. Well played. Number 13. Clap Clap. The Conjuring.
James Wan's first entry into the epic Conjuring franchise capitalized on the age-old fear of spooky basements with this clever jump scare, and it still creeps us out. After investigating noises down in the basement of her new home, Carolyn becomes trapped down there. A voice asks if she wants to play hide and clap, a game her children play. Before poor Carolyn can answer, a pair of hands emerge from the darkness next to her head to deliver the scariest claps in movie history.
Wanna play hide and clap?
As if a demonic presence suddenly appearing on top of a wardrobe wasn't bad enough.
Number 12. Night Vision. The Descent. This British classic about a group of adventurous friends trapped in an uncharted cave makes full use of its claustrophobic atmosphere. With its tight camera angles and dark caverns, The Descent always keeps you on your toes. One particularly shocking moment involves a digital camera equipped with night vision. Scanning a collection of animal bones, Sarah catches a glimpse of a pale humanoid cave dweller behind one of the women. The jerking movement of the camera and the eerie night vision footage makes this jump scare an appropriately horrifying introduction to the monsters that will hunt them throughout the film. Number 11. The Tall Man. It Follows.
The problem with a lot of the bad kind of jump scares comes down to presentation.
There was an old woman at school today. She was staring at me. It was like she was following me.
A jump scare on its own can be really good, but when you add too many extra elements like a sudden loud sound effect or a musical note or a jarring camera movement, it can feel cheesy and overdone. That's why simple scares like this one work so well.
I need water. Oh my god, I need water.
Okay, I'll get you some.
No, stay here!
In this scene from the breakout horror hit, the sinister force following a young girl emerges from a dark room behind her friend in the form of a tall man.
With minimal musical cues, the sudden jarring image of the terrifying figure approaching is little frills and all chills.
See? Everything's okay.
What are you doing?
Number 10. Bilbos Transformation. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Anyone who knows anything about The Lord of the Rings remembers Gollum, the hobbit driven mad by his obsession with the One Ring. But we first see the ring's psychological power in the early scene between Bilbo and Frodo Baggins. Upon seeing his nephew with the ring, Bilbo's face transforms into something monstrous and he explodes in animalistic rage. Then, just as quickly, he's back to his old self.
I should very much like to hold it again one last time.
It's shocking, but what makes it even scarier is that Bilbo, up to this point, has been nothing more than benign and grandfatherly. To suddenly see him become a monster is upsetting, and a true testament of the ring's power over even the best of men. Number 9. Sloth Wakes Up. 7. What's scarier than finding a dead body? Why, a dead body that's not as dead as you thought, of course. We've seen a version of this scene so many times before. Uniformed officers arrive on the scene, guns drawn, only to find the emaciated body of a serial killer's latest murder victim lying on the bed. But 7 has more tricks up its sleeve. About 2 minutes into the scene, the victim suddenly springs back to life.
You got what you deserved. He's alive! He's alive!
David Fincher's neo-noir mystery thriller is chock full of chilling moments, but this one is just outright ingenious. Number 8. I Saw Her Face. The Ring. This American remake of a J-horror movie captivated audiences with its terrifying premise: a cursed videotape that kills anyone who views it in 7 days. The mother of one of the tape's victims tells her sister about finding her daughter dead in a closet.
I saw her face.
It's a classic jump scare because you don't see it coming. The scene around it is a moody but relatively calm conversation in a quiet kitchen. So when this one terrifying insert of the dead girl's twisted and mangled face splashes across the screen, it really sets the audience on edge. Number 7. Hallway Scene. Shock.
This movie from horror legend Mario Bava follows a woman who becomes convinced that the ghost of her abusive husband is haunting her and their son.
Mama, I have to kill you.
Marco.
In one sequence, the son runs down a hallway to embrace his mother, only to suddenly transform into his departed father.
Mama!
The effect is done entirely in camera using a very simple filmmaking trick commonly called a Texas switch. The technique involves one performer briefly leaving the sight of the audience, only for another to pop up in their place. Usually this is used to replace a stuntman with an actor or vice versa, but in Bava's hands, it becomes something else entirely.
Number 6. The Painting. The Conjuring 2.
Mom. Who's that?
Some jump scares come out of nowhere, but some are made all more effective by ratcheting up the suspense to a fever pitch. In this scene from The Conjuring 2, psychic and paranormal investigator Lorraine Warren is terrorized by a demon using an uncanny painting of a nun to attack her. The movie cranks up the suspense to 10 until the final jolt, as the painting comes off the wall and the demonic figure chases Lorraine. We know it's coming and it still gets us. It's the perfect mix of well-timed spooks, haunting imagery, and a great performance from actor Vera Farmiga. Number 5. Garden Shears. The Exorcist III.
While often overlooked, the third entry in the Exorcist franchise is absolutely worth checking out, especially for this legendary scare. The scene takes place in a quiet hospital after dark and plays out over just a few long shots. We see the staff going about their business with barely a hint that anything is amiss. But just as the quiet and monotony of the scene has lulled audiences into letting their guard down, sometimes you can get the best results by just taking it slow and steady.
Incidentally, did you know that you are talking to an artist?
Number 4. Jason Returns. Friday the 13th. The first in this iconic horror series is notable for the absence of Jason Voorhees. However, Friday fans know Jason does actually make an appearance in the movie. After final girl Alice survives the first massacre at Camp Crystal Lake, she's drifting serenely in a canoe, waiting for the police to arrive. As she enjoys this new morning free of bloodshed, the calm is completely destroyed when the young Jason Voorhees emerges from the lake and pulls her into the water. Lots of movies go for one last gotcha, but this one is notable for the way it actually sets up the possibility of a sequel. Although it's just a dream sequence, fans know that Jason won't remain in the lake for long.
We didn't find any boy.
Then he's still there.
Number 3. The Lawnmower. Sinister. There's just something weird and foreboding about home videos. This supernatural horror movie about a true crime writer who discovers a connection between the murders of several families uses that creepiness to its advantage. Although it's not technically a found footage film, it definitely uses some of the tropes to its advantage. In one now classic scene, the protagonist, played by Ethan Hawke, is watching home video footage of a family who was murdered. The camera operator records a lawnmower crossing the yard before eventually rolling over someone's head. Between the unexpected on-screen killing and the musical sting, it's a hard moment to shake off. Number 2. The Diner. Mulholland Drive. No one does weird and unsettling like writer-director David Lynch.
There's a man in back of this place. He's the one who's doing it.
In this beloved 2001 cult classic, Lynch includes an early scene where Dan tells Herb about a nightmare he has that takes place in the very diner they're sitting in. As the tension grows and the soundtrack fills with white noise, Dan finds his nightmare coming true when he sees the face of the figure who haunts his nightmares. The whole time, it seems like the movie is drifting between reality and a dream state. And the scare is not just about a figure unexpectedly appearing, but it's also a moment where the audience is made to feel lost and unsure of their reality. It cuts deeper than the average jump scare. Number 1. Chest Chomp. The Thing. Although the blood test scene also gets some of the glory, The Thing finds all kinds of ways to make the human body terrifying.
These days, this brilliant scare from John Carpenter's horror masterpiece is a sight almost every horror fan knows like the back of their hand.
You think he's changed into one of those things?
While attempting to use a defibrillator on a seemingly dead Norris, Dr. Cooper discovers far too late that Norris is one of the things. Now cast your mind back to the heady years of 1982 and ask yourself, really ask yourself, would you have seen that coming? The effect is so well executed and so jarring in its sudden violence that we cannot imagine a first-time viewer not leaping out of their seat.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.